this is John Coleshaw, and you are listening to Cando FM with Russ Palmer. It's the Russ Palmer Show.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you candidly doing? It's me, Russ Palmer, with you till 6 o'clock here on the one true local community radio station. That is Cando FM. Loads of great music between now and 6. Plus, I'm going to be chatting very, very shortly to Margaret Burrows. The Grotto is coming back to the Barrow District Disability Association, and she's coming to tell us all about it. So let's not hang about. I have a special treat for you. In the studio with me is the one and only Margaret Burrows. We haven't spoke on the radio since you got your freedom of the borough.
No, we haven't, Russell.
No.
You're absolutely right. Life has just been so crazy.
Yes.
We're going around in circles doing this and this, and so it's very nice to see you too.
Yeah, and remember, if you ever drive the sheep down Dalton Road, which you're entitled to now as a free person, Cando FM have got our first dibs on that. We'll follow you all the way down Dalton Road. I've
already had a farmer offer me 60 sheep, and then I have a niece who breeds sheep, so just watch the space, you may do.
Will do. Now, the main reason, of course, we're here is to chat at last, after a 2-year absence, the famous, the long-running Barrow and District Disability Association Grotto is coming back to the centre. And I've had a sneak preview. It looks absolutely fantastic, doesn't it?
It does. We've changed a little bit this time, Russell, because of COVID regulations and one thing and another. What we've done, because we have a building next to us that's waiting to be developed. So Father Christmas has asked that we invite people. He's been using it as a workshop. Mm-hmm. So he's inviting children in to see his work, where he works and the animals and everything. So I agree with you. It looks really nice, and we're looking forward to him coming. Because actually, it's in the building next door, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, because you have plans for that building. Right.
But for now, it is Santa's Workshop and Grotto. Of course, it's been 2 years, hasn't it? Because last year you were at the market. Mm-hmm. And of course, the year before, because of COVID, you couldn't do it. No. But sadly, of course, the one of the main stays of the Grotto is Nanny Elf, and unfortunately, Nanny Elf won't be there this year.
There's only one Nanny Elf, and Father Christmas has asked her, as she's been in Barrow, and she's helped bring a lot of joy to a lot of people, a lot of children. No Nanny Elf, but he's asked her if she will go to somewhere else to do something very similar for other children. Yes. Because Nanny Elf loves children.
She does.
And there's only one Nanny Elf, and we've been so lucky to have her.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, as well as the daytime sessions, the morning and the afternoon session, you've introduced an evening session on both Saturday evenings, haven't you? Would you like to explain why that is?
The reason we've done that was when I've been on Dalton Road talking to the shopkeepers, and Father Christmas has sent me shopping for getting presents and to help him out a bit. And some of the people who were working in the shops happened to say they couldn't get to see their children. Yeah. So we're staying open on the 2 Saturdays, as you said, Russell, between 5 and 6. Yeah. So at least, it's nice. We do like the family to come in, because with our Grotto, it's not only just a child going in to see Father Christmas, it's everybody. Yeah. We had one lady I must tell you about. It was her wish that she had 11 grandchildren, and she always had this wish to have Father Christmas, 11 grandchildren, and herself on a photograph. And Father Christmas obliged, so that lady got her wish.
And of course, it's been going so many years. When did it start?
It's been going now, believe it or not, 32 years.
Yeah. What gave you the inspiration to start it?
The reason we started it, and it wasn't what it is now, it was much, much smaller, but one of the reasons was one of our members who, a lovely man, who had a mental age of a child. He adored Father Christmas and the Grotto, but if ever he went near a Grotto, people thought bad about him, as a paedophile or whatever, but he was a perfect gentleman. So what I did was create a small grotto for him, and him and many others got a lot of joy, because we don't have an upper age limit, because we say it depends on the person's mental age.
Yes.
So if somebody comes into us and they say their loved ones are 6 or 3 or whatever, we know how to handle that.
Yeah.
Just simply as you would do with any other child.
Yeah.
Just make sure this younger ones don't have small things you could put in their mouth.
Yeah.
But seeing the joy is wonderful. Christmas should be a time when we're all together. Nobody should be excluded.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of the most popular grottos in the area, and as I say, you bring so much joy to people. And the beauty is, as you say, there is no upper age limit. There is no restriction. There's no restrictions for anybody who wants to come and visit Santa. None
at all. And as far as we know, we're the only grotto in the country that we know of that to go along this. I once went to my daughter in London, and of course there was a grotto going on, so I'm very nosy and I watched, and I just saw people queuing up for hours, and then they were in the door and out again, and in a few minutes with a carrier bag, just an ordinary carrier bag with things in. That never happens with us.
No.
We like the children to remember Father Christmas.
Their experience.
Yes.
Most definitely.
Because we're never too old to have...
No, we're not.
Father
Christmas. I tell you, I'm hoping to get onto the good list, I tell you. But I'm going to play another tune, and then we'll be back to chat some more.
This is Can-Do FM.
Drive Time is sponsored by Barrow Bid, helping to create a busier, brighter, better Barrow. From the heart of Furness, connecting communities across the Furness Peninsula. 106.3, 107.3, Can-Do FM.
Anyway, I'm here, as you've heard, with Margaret Burrows, and we're still chatting about the return of the Barrow District Disability Grotto. It's brilliant news after 2 years away from the centre. Now, over the years, as we established before the news, you've got a lot of heartwarming stories to tell us over the years about the centre and people that have visited the grotto. Would you like to share some of them with us?
We've had a lot of really fun stories to tell each other, because Father Christmas very kindly shares with us some of the funny things. But on occasions, we do get some really sad situations, but thankfully, most of them we've been able to deal with it. One little girl, she came in and she was broken-hearted because Daddy was going to take her to see Father Christmas, but he was in the forces and he was called away to Afghanistan. Anyway, she kept saying, and she was only very young, but very, very well spoken little girl, and she kept saying, no, Daddy said he would take me to see Father Christmas. Anyway, Mummy was doing everything she could to pacify her. Anyway, remarkably, we managed to get through to her daddy in Afghanistan with the British forces, and the little girl was kissing the screen and just saying, I knew my daddy wouldn't let me down. Wow. But the amazing thing, the army was touched. They flew the man home so that on Christmas morning, that little girl got her wish. So Father Christmas does have
so much fantastic work. Yeah. And then, of course, you were telling me during the break about a terminally ill young child.
Yeah. This was many years ago when we first started, and it's not something I've really told many people, but it was really, really... It tells a story. We had 2 young boys come in to see us, and the disablement had really been savage with them, but they came in and one of them could hardly see, but he could smell Father Christmas, because frankincense and myrrh we have down. And another little boy, he was terminally ill. Anyway, they enjoyed themselves, and you wouldn't have believed that they were so poorly. But in January, I got a visit from his mother, and she said, I just needed to tell you, my son turned to, as he was dying, and said to the doctor, you know, I've met the real Father Christmas.
Wow.
So she said, he died with a smile on his face. So every year since, this year included, there's a box with his name on it.
So everybody that comes to visit the grotto goes out with a smile on the face, and it's all thanks to you and the volunteers. And of course, it starts this Saturday and Sunday, the 3rd and 4th, and of course it's repeated the following Saturday and Sunday, the 10th and the 11th.
Yes.
What time does it start, Margaret?
It starts from 10 till 3, and then on the Sunday, because the shop's not open on a Sunday, so we're having it from 11 to 4.
Yes.
So that people can, you know, after they've been to see Father Christmas or whatever, or before, go do the shopping, then come and see us, and that's repeated. But as we said before, we're also opening for 2 evening viewings, and I've seen the, as you know, we've called it's Father Christmas's workshop this year, because
of course the wonderful thing I've noticed about it is that normally at some grottos there are massive queues and people are stood around, but you do try to keep the people waiting to see Father Christmas occupied.
We do. The as I say, Nanny Elf was brilliant for this, but Father Christmas has taken her to do a good job somewhere else. Anyway, what we have got, we have the Willow Tree Cafe where people can wait, and then they will go, when it's their turn, they'll go into next door to see.
And there's a bit of a tombola going on, isn't there?
There's tombola, there's raffles, and there's the cafe, and there's all sorts of things. Oh, when we come out, there was reindeer food and all the goodness knows what.
Oh, yes, you've got to have the reindeer food for the reindeer to fly. Yeah. Now, after the grotto is over, the building where the grotto is, you have big plans for that, don't you? Absolutely.
When the pandemic started, we'd already had a lady who was terminally ill, but she was the mother of a very, very dear disabled friend of ours, Andy Stevenson, sadly died this time last year. She knew she was ill, so she knew that if she left her son any money, his benefits would be affected. So what she actually did was she got a solicitor and sold the home and everything. And I got a letter one day saying that she wanted me to choose how to spend this money, but she wanted it nothing to go on wages and nothing to go on admin. Well, I'm technically a volunteer anyway, so and she'd said maybe little trips out or something, but I thought I can think of something far more worthwhile to spend it on. And just by chance, next door to us is it was Identity's sewing factory where they sewed all the school uniforms with the logos and things on it. So that was empty. So this money that she left was sufficient to buy that building, so that we can turn it into exclusively a disablement information and advice service. Wow. Including the benefits service. Anyway, that it was 86,000, which is to us is a huge amount of money. However, when we drew up plans to join the building to our present building and to put in disabled access, it just comes all up to around about 300,000. Wow. Now, we have been I carried on doing grants and fundraising right through the pandemic, and we're almost there. If it wasn't for the fact that we now have to get new quotes, I could say we were 25,000 after 300,000.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic.
However, I'm dreading getting the quotes because we're hearing such horror stories of them being doubled and goodness knows what. But it is something that will happen, I'm determined is going to happen, if for nothing else, for Andy Stevens, this lady's son,
Yes.
who, he was always came to the Grotto and he helped, and the children loved him and that. So, and amazingly, what we've been doing, because a lot of people don't have much money to spare, but we've been selling imaginary bricks, so at £1 each. And what we will do then, I'm going to have some wallpaper designed with the person's name on, and then that will wallpaper one of the walls in reception in the new building.
You do such wonderful work, Margaret. You really do. You and the volunteers. I'm full of admiration for you.
Thank you.
Now,
Appreciate
going
that.
back to the Grotto.
Yes.
Yes, and as I say, before we sign off, can you just remind the listeners of times, dates, and prices, please?
Yes. To make it easier, it's this coming Saturday and Sunday. Saturday. Oh, I forgot to tell you something important, Russell.
Okay.
On Saturday this week, we have Peter Schofield, who for many, many years has been a benefactor of the Grotto. So amazingly, he's now got a grandchild.
Right.
And he will be opening the Grotto. And Peter, I looked after him as a little boy when his mum and dad was busy working, so he's a very dear person. So he will be opening it at 10 o'clock on Saturday, and then we're there till 3, where we have a break, and then we will open again 5 to 6 for the people who are working or whatever. Sunday is 11 to 4 because of the shop's not open until 11, and that's repeated the following week. You can pay on the door, you don't have to boot. I just ask people to wrap the children up warm, because it's Santa's workshop, and it's not quite as warm as...
It's like the North Pole.
It's a bit like that, yes, it is. But the children will enjoy it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But the main thing is the children have a good time.
Most definitely.
We've been living in times where when you put on the news, it's all depression and goodness knows what. I grew up in wartime, and I remember how people rallied round, and everybody did a bit, and that bit, all those bits became a big thing. So if people did that now, and make sure their children don't suffer for what's going on,
couldn't agree more,
that
Margaret.
would be my best Christmas present.
It's been absolutely wonderful talking to you, Margaret.
Thank you.
And please, folks, if you've got one of your little cherubs there that wants to go and see Father Christmas, there's no better place to go than the Barron District Disability Association. I'll be back after this.
Barrow Bid, driving opportunity for Barrow Town Centre.